Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin from Florals.com and today I have another Stretch Your Stash episode for the series. So this one features your leftover alphabet stickers. We all have them because the way they make these alphabet stickers, it's impossible to use them all to actually make words. Because who needs 5 Z's? No one. No one. So today I will be showing you one way to use up your leftover alphabet stickers. I actually used a whole sheet that I had left over, plus a bunch from a bunch of different sheets. As you'll see, I'm using 3 different fonts. So the white foam ones are from American Crafts, the red ones are KI Memories, and then the blue ones are some random old ones that I have. So I'm just messing around with all the stickers. You don't have to be this strategic with your placement. I was very strategic. I like the sort of grid pattern that I kind of made so everything kind of fit together well. At least that was my plan. And originally I was just going to do a strip up the right hand side of the craft cardstock, but I ended up actually making a diagonal sort of pattern towards the middle of the page, which you'll see in a little bit. So if you're anything like me, you often have, specifically the red sheet in this instance, has no letters left on it. I've cut a bunch up and used them as other letters like C's out of B's and stuff like that, but there's just nothing left there, so I'm going to use them on this sort of layout. Now there are a lot of other examples of this type of layout on Pinterest and YouTube, so if you aren't inspired by these colors easily, then maybe you should go check out another one just so you can have even more inspiration. But a few tips are stick with an easy color scheme. I went with red, white, and blue, and I have a very basic photo, but I know a lot of people do like white on white or any other color, or monochromatic, so a bunch of reds or blues, or even an ombre with their letters, because that would be cool. But I did really like the mix of the textures and shapes in my version. So I'm going to stick all of these down. Luckily all of these alphabet stickers actually stick and I don't need to put adhesive on the back of them, but if you have to put adhesive on the backs of yours, it'll probably take you a little bit longer. This probably took me 20 minutes, and this is obviously sped up, and I even cut some off because it's so long, but it does take a good chunk of time to figure this out. Or you can have them overlap. There's lots of options here, but just using these stickers as sort of a background piece is a great way to use them up. So now that I have my little staircase of letters done, I'm going to use some acrylic paint to make a sort of base for my photo layers to sit on. I'm just using white acrylic, and I'm actually almost out of it, so I'll have to get a new bottle of that. And I'm using a medium flat brush, and I'm just measuring out how big this will be. I will also be covering some of the letters. It didn't have much trouble drying on them. I thought it would, but it didn't. Even though I ended up covering it a little bit, I just wanted to emphasize that the paint went all the way across, even though it doesn't really, but just so it looks like it does. And then I'm going to also be watering down some of the white paint on a piece of plastic so I can do some splatters. Now the first time I do it, it was too watered down. But the second time I do it, they stay like I want them to. So that's done, and I'm just going to clean up a little bit because I got it everywhere. And that's an easier way to do splatters. I know a lot of people like the Heidi Swap Color Shine or the Recollection sprays that came out, but it's sometimes cheaper just to use acrylic paints. I mean, you just got to water them down a little bit and have a bigger brush, but you can still get the same effect just without the shimmer. Unless you buy shimmer paints, then I guess it might work. So I'm layering my photo on some crepe paper here. This is from the Notes and Things 6x6, and I'll also be using a Prima 6x6 paper with blue flowers on it. So I'm just creating some simple layers, and this is a photo of my dog. When don't I scrapbook pictures of my dog? So his name is Comet, and this is a really fun layout to do. You'll see a little bit later the title and then more about the meaning of it, but I'm going to mount it on this Prima paper, which is from their retrospective or introspective collection. I'd have to look it up to be sure, but I'll probably have the details over on my blog in case you want to know more about it. So to give this layer more texture, I'm going to be using my ruler and ripping up the side of it. And then I decided I didn't rip enough off, so I have to go back and rip more off, which is harder. So always try to measure right the first time, because this was a lot harder. Because it is a thinner piece and this paper is kind of thick, so it was hard to rip, but it became very textured at that point, so that's okay. So I know my photo is going to go in the middle there, and I have this Recollections doily from Valentine's Day. which I want to use, but the paint's still kind of wet, so I'm afraid to break something so intricate over. So I move on to my washi tape. I have this one by Scotch, which is a navy background with light blue florals on it. I really wasn't afraid to use a lot of things over the letters. I mean, some of them are foam, so they're thicker, and it does make a very bumpy layout, but I made it work. Everything's stuck okay. I think the doily is what I'm most worried about. Later you'll see me glue that down. The Scotch quick dry, but I'm also going to add this washi tape, which is from Freckled Fawn. It's like horizontal hearts, and that's going to be that detail over there. And now I'm looking for something to cluster in the bottom left. I'm planning on my title being on the top left of the layout, so I want something in the bottom left to help balance that part out, because clearly the whole right side of the layout is pretty much balanced. So I pull out a Tim Holtz label sticker, one of the red ones, and then an Elle Studio star sticker. This is from their Thankful Collection sticker sheet. And after looking through my whole bin of goodies, I find nothing else that I want to use. I do have this arrow. This arrow is something I've been holding on to because I loved these. I already used a whole pack of them, and this is the only, I think I only have one left after this one, but this is the only one in that size, I think. But this is from Recollections, and these were like on clearance for 50 cents, and I bought 2 packs, and now they're almost all gone. But they're really heavy metal, so like they're really heavy, like duty actual metal, not like a fake looking metal, but really cute. So now I think I want to do some hidden journaling, because once you see the title again later at this layout, you'll understand why I want to actually journal on this, because usually I don't really think about that. So I remember that I have a set of craft tags, and I think they'll fit in this little pocket that I pulled out from the paper studio. So these tags are from Recollections, and they're craft with navy accents, so absolutely perfect for this layout. So I get the twine here, and I'll tie a little loop of that through the tag, and that's where all of my journaling can go. And again, the red and cream striped pocket is from the paper studio at Hobby Lobby. And then, of course, I cut the twine too long, so now I have to trim it. And then once that is done, I tried to mess around with some of the layering here. So I ended up putting the doily off to the right, which was my original plan, to give some juxtaposition to the lettering over there. So it's just softer against the side of the photo. So now I'm going to start gluing down the arrow and doily and all of that. While I'm gluing all of this down, I would like to ask you guys one question. I would like to know what you would want to see stretched from your stash. So this series is called Stretch Your Stash, and I would love to know what you're having trouble using in unique ways. Like letter stickers is obviously a big one. I could do more of these types of layouts where I use my letter stickers in a different way, or leftover ones, that is. Or if you guys want anything, enamel dots, anything, I'll probably have it around. So, or we could do a doily one, that'd be fun. I have lots of doilies. So if you guys have any suggestions or recommendations for what you want to see in this series or any of my other series, please leave them down below, and I'd be happy to use them. So I'm back to buttons. Remember all the buttons I used on my other layout in this series? They're back. I had these buttons at school, so they didn't end up on my other layout, which you can find on my channel. It's the first episode in the Stretch Your Stash series, but I have more buttons, luckily. So I'm sticking a few of these navy buttons through the lettering as well as over here in my left cluster. So now we're almost to the title portion of the layout, which is probably one of my favorite parts. This whole layout came together quite easily after the main embellishing was done. And by main embellishing, I mean that giant letter thing that took me forever. I'm going to put 2 washi strips in the top left and put my title right next to that. So what I'm going to make this title is going to say Catnap. And I'm using these giant white thickers. They're huge. I didn't think I'd ever buy this big of a thicker, but I did. And it really stands out from the right-hand side as well. I didn't want to use the same fonts because then it gets a little bit confusing. So I stuck with a different font, different everything. And now I'm going to be using these Tim Holtz tiny letter stickers to spell out the word cat. And after I'll add actually a question mark under after the nap, because it's more of a question as to why he always naps like a cat, because he thinks he's a cat, obviously. But That's pretty much it for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to give this a thumbs up and subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.